working in partnership and working together with program staff and operations staff and finance staff to really help our partners become strong institutions and to be more effective in their work. And oftentimes, as partnership and capacity strengthening people, we only know a few other colleagues in our region. We don't always know other colleagues around the world. And we don't always have access to the same types of communities of practice or technical meetings that some of our colleagues in finance or agriculture or health are lucky enough to have. So in the Partnership and Capacity Strengthening Unit in headquarters, we really started to think about how many colleagues we had around the world who were doing really interesting and good work with our partners, and how we just weren't learning enough from one another, and we weren't sharing emerging tools and resources, and that we just were not benefiting enough from the creativity and the skills that our colleagues had. So we decided to organize this event coming up in July here in the United States to bring together people who have already a good background in partnership and capacity strengthening, and to really help all of us, again, learn from one another and learn some new techniques, some new skills, share our knowledge, share our experience, and to begin to form a more vibrant community. We envision a pretty intense 6-day workshop, and where we will, again, share with one another, we'll learn new knowledge and skills, we'll talk about common challenges that we all face in working with our partners. That could be working with church partners, working with partners in remote locations, working in humanitarian or emergency situations or in conflict situations, all the kinds of challenges we face, low resource settings, etc. We also want to talk about some of the emerging issues in our field, the opportunities that local ownership offer to CRS, how we're increasingly working with government around the world, how we're working with large-scale change, and how we're working with networks more and more. So all of these are interesting partnership and capacity strengthening challenges. We want to spend those 6 intensive days together and then take a year afterwards to do coaching and mentoring and peer-to-peer learning so that we create not only a community amongst us, but that we are increasingly recognized within CRS as a technical sector and one where we see career advancement and job opportunities for all of us in our sector. So Mandy, maybe I'll stop there and see what you and Megan and John will add.
That sounds good. Megan, would you mind walking us through some of the details about the opportunity?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to add a couple more things about kind of how we're seeing. Sorry, I should put this back on presentation here. I think that we want to note that this really is designed to be more than a training. You know, we're really thinking of this as an exciting and new opportunity for building this community of highly experienced practitioners. All of you on the call with us today are doing work with partners as part of the core of your mission and your work. You bring experience and expertise, and we really want to capitalize on that expertise to, as Sarah said, dig into some of our most complex challenges, build on the areas that we're doing really well in, and to do it also in a dynamic way. So we've designed it specifically as 6 days over a weekend. I think somebody needs to mute if you can. Thank you. Uh, we're designing it to be very intense learning experience that's really going to be based sort of a case-based approach and designed to allow time for both deep teamwork and collaboration and also some individual reflection. So we're also hoping to have a lot of fun as well. And as Sarah said, we're looking to see this not just as increasing our own individual expertise and knowledge and skills, but also as really strengthening partnership and capacity strengthening as a competency and as a sector, much like the meal community. I'm going to just jump in a little bit here and talk for a minute about where and when. Perfecting Partnership 2017 is a pilot. We're hoping that it will be replicated, and we're planning on replicating it in 2018. But this first one will happen in July 12th through the 19th. And we're particularly excited that we have the opportunity to do it at Villanova University in Villanova, Pennsylvania in the U.S. We have the Partnership and Capacity Strengthening team has been really lucky to have developed some exciting and interesting relationships with faculty at Villanova, both in their public administration program as well as their church management program. And it's through these relationships that they've seen how exciting this event could be and expressed interest in helping us hold it here. So we're excited about having it at Villanova. And we think that it will provide an opportunity for both a unique space that will encourage learning and reflection, and as well as having access to some unique and special content and resources. Mandy, do you want to say anything more about the logistics or overall planning at this point?
No, I think you've covered that. Thank you.
Okay.
So I think at this time we can turn it over to John to keep us moving and talk more about the application process.
Okay, thanks, Mandy. Maybe we could advance to the slide that illustrates the application process as well. So we've gotten a tremendous response to this opportunity. It was advertised in the newsletter, and most of you, if not all, have seen it detailed in the newsletter. We weren't sure, since it's the first time we're doing this, how much response we would get, but we're really very excited about having almost 120 applicants so far for the 30 or so positions that would be available in the July Perfecting Partnership event. So in order to engage all of you and all 120 applicants, we have a process to try to identify in a very fair and transparent way which of the applicants are most ready to join this particular event. And even if at the end of the day not all of you on the call are able to join in this event, as was said earlier, this is intended to be a pilot exercise. So all of the information, all of your interest is not being lost, to be available to inform how we go forward after this pilot event. We're planning to hold this type of event annually, so hopefully all of you will have a chance to participate at some point. So briefly, the process, as you can see on the screen, we've completed the initial application process, and we're now in the webinar period. There's another webinar on Monday of next week, and perhaps not everyone who has applied will be able to attend the webinar, so we're recording the webinar to make it available to all of the applicants. Then next week, we'll start with the first challenge, It will be posted on the partnership page on SharePoint that's dedicated to this particular event. And it would ask for a series of questions to sort of learn more about each applicant's experience and their insights on partnership and capacity strengthening. So by the end of January, then we would have a good sense of the 120 or so applicants, which ones seem to be most ready to go on to the second challenge and be considered for the event in July. So in early February, then we'll issue a second challenge, and then in February, that second challenge would be completed. And then so by March, all of the information for the remaining applicants would be processed and would be able to identify and inform the final decisions about all applicants by the 10th of April. So I think that's an overview of that. Maybe I'll stop there and then we can see if more questions need to be asked about more specifics about the process. Thank you.
So we have a couple of questions that have come up in the chat box. The first question for our team is this training strict on the at least 3 years of working with CRS criteria? That was asked more than once, with the additional wording that included some CRS offices have just introduced the partnership and capacity strengthening department in the recent year.
So, hi everyone, this is Sarah. I think we would certainly take into account whether it was a new country program or a new function, and we would judge each case individually to look at the experience of the applicant, perhaps prior to CRS as well as since joining CRS, and to look at the life of the CRS office. So it is our hope that all applicants will have at least 3 years experience with CRS, but given some special circumstances, we will have an open mind about those applicants' knowledge, skills, and experience, and we will assess accordingly.
Thank you, Sarah. So I'm hoping that answered the question, but if there are more questions or follow-up questions to that, please type it in the chat box. Also, Isra, I saw that you mentioned about the countries where it's harder to get visas. That's why we're trying to get a good and early start on the program and the application process, so that we ensure that participants who are selected have enough time to obtain a visa. I want to make sure that I've answered that question or addressed that issue, Isra. So if you wanted to add anything, please place it in the chat box. The other thing that I want to talk about is John mentioned the next steps in the application process, and I want to talk in more detail about one of the specific next steps. For those of you who are joining us today, you've already completed the first step in the application, and now it's time to move on to that next step, that challenge that John spoke about. Each of you will receive an email after this call with a link that is individual to you, where you can go back and A, make any changes to the first part of your application, and B, you can then open up that second challenge, complete the questions that are there, and then submit it back to us. We are asking that you do that again by January the 15th. And then I see, Isra, you asked a question, what about the applicant for 1 year with CRS? Is there no chance? No, it doesn't mean that there's no chance. What Sarah was mentioning is that we're going to look at every circumstance. We're going to review every application. And because of some certain special circumstances, we may consider those who do not have at least 3 years. However, the preference is that persons would have at least 3 years. But not having 3 years will not remove you from total consideration. We will give fair and reasonable consideration to all applications. Sarah, is that a good summary of what you stated?
Yes, I think that's right. I think that if you are very interested in this event and you feel you have a strong background in partnership and capacity strengthening, but you work for a new country program, or you are new to CRS, please continue to apply. We will be in touch with you, whether around your application and whether we feel that you have the background and the experience with CRS you need. So if you want to contact us individually after this webinar and explain your circumstances, we could certainly have an individual chat with you as well.
So I'm seeing in the chat that there's some more specific questions. So this is what I'll say. Because we are going to review every application, don't be alarmed just because we've shared the 3 years. As we've mentioned, we're going to give every application consideration. Your unique set of knowledge, skills, and experiences can qualify you for this event. But it is our hope and our preference that you have 3 years. But not having 3 years does not automatically disqualify you from this opportunity. So Rosaline, I saw Molarisi, and I saw one more question. I think it was from Isra, but I'm sorry, and Hagos. So we are going to do our best to make sure that we give full consideration to your range of skills, abilities, and experiences. So if you could just give us some patience as we go through every application. As John mentioned, we had about 120 applicants and we only have 30 spaces. So based on your responses to the next set of questions, based on your knowledge, skills, and experiences, we're going to do our best to select the most interested, most dedicated, and very best suited participants for this program. I see another question. Would it be a stepwise elimination selection, or would all applicants be going through all steps? That's a good question. At every round, we're going to take the pool down in number a bit. So we're starting with 120. We hope to get that number down by the next round. We don't have a specific number that we will be taking out of the pool, but we want to make sure that we end up with those who are best suited for the pilot opportunity. Also keep in mind, I don't want us to lose the fact that if you don't make it to this first opportunity in 2018, we are hoping to offer an English, Spanish, and French version of this same opportunity. So this would not be your last time to apply nor be accepted to this program. So I would suggest that you continue on in the process and give yourself full faith, because you will get full consideration from the team. Was someone else speaking?
Yeah, Mandy, this is Sarah. Everyone, I just want to also remind you that this is a mutual discernment process. As you go through the application process, it's also for you to determine whether this is the best time for you to take this course and whether this course is fulfilling your professional interests. So we anticipate that as some of the applicants go through the process, they themselves will remove themselves because they'll decide the timing isn't right or the subject matter isn't exactly what they need at this point in their career. So we anticipate, again, that both you as applicants and us as the partnership team are looking at this event, and each of us are making choices about who will participate.
Thank you, Sarah. Ms. Sveen, you asked, where do you find the level 1 PCS courses? I can email you a link to that full curriculum after this meeting. And on that, I do know a couple of you had questions about the number of courses that you need to take. There are 6 level 1 PCS courses that we would like all participants to take. So some of you saw the number 3 somewhere, but the actual number is 6. And anyone else who's interested in having me send them the link for those courses, please contact me or place it in the chat box. Now, Isra, I see you have a question. If you're not chosen, but you want to join this event and bear all expenses, is this allowed? You know, this is not something we had previously considered, so I would ask that you give us just some time to think about that as a team, and would you be okay if we got back to you later on today? Oh, I'm sorry. I see that Sarah did answer that already.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mandy. I didn't mean to contradict you. I do think that the reality of this is that the expense is not the challenge in this course. We have budgeted for this this event, and what's most important to us is that we have the right mix of participants for this particular point in time. Because it's the first time we're offering it, we're having a slightly smaller group to make sure that we really do the pilot project well. Once we have a successful event and we learn from it and we all create a community, then we're able to open it up to more applicants in 2018. So because funding really isn't the barrier, I'm afraid that bringing additional resources to the table doesn't really make that much of a difference. Back to you, Mandy.
Thank you, Sarah. And for the PCS team, here's another question from Ciro. It seems like the process is mainly based on the applicant's statements. Do you think that it would be useful to have some feedback from colleagues, like supervisors, and 1 or 2 partners about the applicant's skills?
Perhaps Megan or John are having microphone problems, so I'll step in again. Sorry, everyone. This is Sarah. It's a really excellent question, Sarah, and it's actually anticipated to do exactly that later in the application process. So we will ask for feedback from supervisors and potentially from partners in either in step 2 and 3 of the process. So the applicant statements are the first phase or the first challenge in the process. Later, there'll be time for feedback to be offered. So excellent question.
All right, so Sarah has placed in the chat box the link from the ICS to the courses. And you can also click, I'm going to paste a long message in the chat box that has the direct links to CRS Learns as well, because I know some persons don't know the name of all of the courses, but I've sent the curriculum as well. Is there any limitation related to the position of the applicants? Bernard, I see your question, and I'm going to answer to the best of my ability, but if I don't answer the question in a way that responds to help resolve what you're asking, please ask additional questions. So there's no specific role that you have to have at CRS to be eligible for this opportunity. However, we are asking that you do work very closely with partners and that you work as, you know, in partnership and capacity strengthening. But I don't think that we're limiting the role. Sarah, John, Megan, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's right. You could be in program, you can be in finance, you could be in operations, as long as you work with partners and your job responsibilities include partnership and capacity strengthening, we would be very much interested in your application. Your position title is not that important. It's the functions that you do that we're looking for.
Thank you, Sarah. Vilma, you asked if there's a limit to the number of applicants accepted as qualified participants per country. There's no specific numerical limit, but we do want to get a good spread of colleagues from around the world. So we wouldn't, if we have 30 spaces, we wouldn't want 25 of them to come from the same country. But there's no specific limit. We want the best qualified candidates, and we do want a diverse candidate pool. Rosaline, you asked about what we meant by completing the 3 level 1 PCS courses. So there are actually 6 level 1 PCS courses, and those courses are the Partnership Basics Suite. So they are the introductory level knowledge, skills, and attitudes that we believe are necessary to do partnership and capacity strengthening well. So those courses are Partnership Basics, Capacity Strengthening Basics, Organizational Capacity Strengthening, Adult Learning, Communication, and Relationship Basics. Those courses are the courses that Sarah and I have placed in the chat box for you to follow up and complete. I do know many of you have already completed them. If you still have more questions, you can stay in the chat or you can email me offline and I can walk you through further. Ahmed, you asked if you should inform your supervisor now or if you should wait after the next step. I think it would be good to tell your supervisor that you're interested in this opportunity and let them know that you're applying for it. But, you know, I wouldn't commit to anything at this point because we aren't far enough in the application process to promise spaces. And so, Rosaline, the 3 level, I think that may have been a typo. I think it was the number 3 as in the number of courses, but there are actually 6 courses.
Yeah, I think there was, sorry, this is Megan. I had to stop presenting so I could help see the chat and the questions. But some country programs or regions have suggested or required that 3 of the introductory courses be part of staff either performance plans or development plans, but there are 6, and as Mandy said, there you can find them all there.
So many of you have asked if I can send this by email. I will send these courses by email as well. So I'll include that on the email with the next steps. So as you can see, there's no presentation on the screen. I just don't want anybody to think that there are presentations going on. There is not. We're just doing questions and answers. So Rosaline, you can see level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. You do want to do the level 1 courses, but I can send you a direct link to the courses in your email. So don't worry. Right after the meeting, I'll send the direct link to CRS Learns to those courses. Are there any other questions? Excuse me.
I've also just posted in this invite the PowerPoint deck in case anybody wanted to have it.
Additionally, this meeting, just a reminder, this meeting is being recorded. We can send you the recording of this of this meeting so that you can review any portion of it at any time. Are there any additional questions? Hamed, I see your question again about the informing your supervisor. As I mentioned, I would let your supervisor know that you are applying for this opportunity, but that we have not yet selected final participants, but at least you can let your supervisor know of your interest. Molarisi, that is the correct message for one of the courses. Oh no, for the curriculum, yes, you're done, Molarisi. If you received the thanks for completing the curriculum, you have completed all of the courses. So I'm not seeing any additional questions. I'll give about 2 more minutes for questions while we are all together. However, John, Megan, and I will be around. We can be around until 9:30 Eastern time, so for about 25 more minutes. But if you have any other questions, you can place it in the chat box at this time. And if you want to ask individual questions, please feel free to stay on the line and we can talk through them. You can turn off your mute and we can speak about them if you'd like to speak about anything. Vilma, the first challenge will be sent to you via email today, shortly following this call. So you did not miss that, no worries. We will send you the first challenge information directly after this call. The 3 courses that we want you to pass, there are actually 6 courses, not 3. And those courses are the Partnership Basics, Capacity Strengthening Basics, Organizational Capacity Assessment Basics, Adult Learning, Communication, and Relationship Basics. And those are the courses that I will send you directly after this call. Will there be any training costs associated to the country program that the country program should cover? I think at this time we are only asking the country programs to cover per diem, but all the other costs we will be covering. Isra, we are asking that you complete those courses. John or Megan, could you remind me when we're asking that they finish when we are asking that they finish those first 6 courses by?
Yeah, I think we've, in the process, we would prefer if the 6 courses can be completed by the 3rd of March. We realize that may not be possible for everyone. So you can complete them. If you can't complete them by then, we can extend the deadline to the 24th of March. During that time, in addition to these 6 level 1 courses, we may introduce a level 2 course on partnership. And if that is introduced during this period, we would certainly request the participants to take
Okay, so did that answer your question? Please let me know in the chat box if that answered your question. Performance plans have already been submitted for FY17. Can I still include these courses in my plan? Yes, Dominic, you can. I believe you can still edit your performance plan, and so I do believe you can still add these courses. Will they be notified if they did not make it? Yes, we will notify you if you did not make it to the next round. Benjamin, yes, you surely can join us for Monday session, and I understand with being preoccupied with closure, it is a busy time. Please join us on Monday, and we've also recorded this session so that if for some reason you are not able to join us on Monday, you can listen to the recording from today. Miret, I'm very sorry that you just joined us. We did record the session, and we can send you the recorded session after this meeting is concluded. Yes, Mariana, we can send you the recorded session. Not a problem. So I'm not seeing any additional questions coming through the chat box. So I want to take this time to thank everyone for sharing with us this at this morning and afternoon. We really appreciate your interest in this program. We really appreciate the time that you've spent with us today. We hope to hear back from you. As I mentioned, you'll be getting some more instructions as this day progresses to tell you how to move on to the next step. If you want to stay on and ask questions, John Donahue, Megan Armistead, and myself will remain on the line for a bit. If there's any questions that you have, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you so much. So for those of you who do not have any more questions, please feel free to drop off the line. Thank you, John, and thank you, Megan, and thank you, Sarah, in your absence.
Yeah, can I just say, Mandy, thanks, Mandy, for moderating and for leading us through this conversation. And also, just this is really thrilling. You know, when we put this invitation together, when we put the application together, we weren't sure how many people would be interested. So it really is just so thrilling to see this level of interest and to think about building our community together around partnership and capacity strengthening. So thank you again. Just to reiterate, thank you. We're so thrilled at your interest, and we look forward to continuing to talking to you.
Okay, thank you also, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cyril.
Bye-bye. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you,
you.
everyone. I
Bye.
see wonderful feedback in the chat box, and we really appreciate your feedback.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good day.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
And again, if there are those of you who are still on the line who want to ask a question,
We're
feel
here.
free to do so.
Thank you lots, and goodbye
Thanks,
for
bye.
everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Okay, thank you to the presenters. See you next happy year.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, this is Mularisi from Lesotho.
Hello.
Yes, I just need to get some clarity. In Lesotho, we don't have capacity strengthening and partnership, but we have partners that we are working with. And looking at this, we saw that this is an opportunity because we have partners in our project. Even now, under our project, Dreams Project, we have 6 partners that we are working with. So I just like to know that even if, as the other applicant asked, even if we don't make it, it's something that we would really like to have in Lesotho office. So what will be the next step for that?
Well, I think, Mularisi, absolutely. I think that we're looking, this is definitely not the only opportunity either to support good partnership and capacity strengthening work or to strengthen our own partnership and capacity strengthening skills as staff and practitioners. This is only one way that we're looking to kind of build this level, this cadre of practitioners and experts within CRS. We have a number of smaller learning opportunities like the online courses, as well as tutorial videos for tools, as well as resources, etc., that can help people who are beginning to work more with partners around capacity strengthening. And we're also looking to see how we could both replicate the perfecting partnership experience once we know that it actually works well, and also think about what other ways we can continue to support staff development and increasing our own competency around partnership and capacity strengthening. So this is an exciting and new, as we said, a pilot opportunity that we're really trying out. But it's certainly not the only one, either of its kind, or nor is it the only way that we look to help staff increase their partnership and capacity strengthening skills.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. No, it's okay then, because we are just interested in strengthening Lesotho. So I will be in touch to see if there's other way of ensuring that we get your support when we are starting to strengthen it in our country office.
Absolutely.
No problem. Okay, thank you very much. And
thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
For those of you who are still with us, again, please feel free you can unmute yourself and ask any questions you have. You can also still place them in the chat. I am still monitoring the chat.
Hello.
Hi, Anselm. How are you?
I'm fine. Okay, I just wanted to find out, we worked in a project where CRS, it's like a consortium, like the SMILE project, where CRS was the lead for about 3 years. And one key objective of that project was around partnership and capacity strengthening. Now, in looking at the criteria, the 3 years this thing, even though one may not have worked directly with the agency, but we have been directly involved in leading a strategic objective, which is like in that particular area. What I'm looking at now is that you'll be working with CRS because the project is led by CRS, is the prime for that project. So in terms of looking at the 3 years thing, I was looking at it and somehow you have somebody who has worked in a project that was funded by CRS for about 3 years and directly involved in that capacity. So I was trying to find out how that plays out.
I think, as Sarah mentioned, we're definitely not trying to be bureaucratic about these requirements, and that every application will be looked at and considered individually and holistically. We're really just trying to ensure that everyone that attends has deep experience working with partners and knows CRS well, knows our partnership approach, and how we work in capacity strengthening. And each individual application will definitely be considered on its own. John, do you want to say anything else?
Yeah, no, I think you've captured, what Sarah has said. I think that's, it's case by case, looking at many different criteria. The 3-year is only one of many different criteria. So we're certainly not basing the decision only on those number of years.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking that question. Hi, how are you? I don't know if you can hear me, but I think you've taken yourself off of mute. I'm going to mute you because I don't think that you're speaking to us right now. Benjamin, I see your question in the chat box. We are not done recording just yet, so at the conclusion of this meeting, when everyone hangs up and I've answered all questions, then I'll send the recording out. We're still recording at this time. You're welcome. I see your thank you. Thank you so much. No problem. There have been a lot of questions about the recording, At this time, we are still recording, but we will send the recording out after this meeting, as soon as we're done answering all questions. And please, as a reminder, we're here for about 10 more minutes, so if you have any additional questions, now would be a great time to ask them. You can also unmute yourself and verbally ask the question if you'd like. At this time, I don't see any more questions in the chat box, and I don't hear any more. I'm going to give one last call for questions, and we're going to end the session. Are there any additional questions that anyone would like to ask at this time? Vilma and Benjamin, I see that you may be typing in the chat box. You can also unmute yourself if you'd like to ask the question verbally. For some of us, we missed a greater part of the session. Is it possible to me back to you through email? You can ask any questions via email. We'll be sending out the recording after the session, and you can respond with any questions you may have that follow thereafter. No problem, Vilma. This is actually Mandy, not Sarah. Sarah left us a little bit ago. Okay, Benjamin, I see. All right, we do not have any more questions, but you can email us again at any time. You can reach us at partnership@crs.org, or you can reach out to any of us individually if you have further questions. Thank you, John and Megan, for hanging on the line, and thank you to all of us who joined today. The recording should be available shortly, and as soon as it is available, I will send it out. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.